The Atlantic Ocean had always hidden secrets, but none were as terrifying as the lonely lighthouse standing on Black Reef Island. For over 2 centuries, sailors had whispered about it in fear. They claimed that ships passing too close would disappear, without leaving behind a single plank of wood, a lifeboat, or even a body. The locals called it the Lighthouse That Swallowed Sailors. Most people dismissed the stories as old sea legends, but every few years another ship vanished, keeping the mystery alive. In the autumn of 2026, a young maritime historian named Ethan Carter decided to uncover the truth. Fascinated by forgotten legends, he had spent years researching mysterious disappearances across the world's oceans. When he discovered records showing that more than 50 ships had vanished near Black Reef Lighthouse, he knew he had found the greatest mystery of his career. Ignoring countless warnings from local fishermen, Ethan rented a small fishing boat and sailed toward the isolated island. Just before sunset, thick grey fog rolled across the sea, swallowing the horizon. The waves grew strangely calm, and even the cries of seagulls faded into silence. As Ethan stepped onto the rocky shore, he noticed something unusual. The lighthouse looked abandoned, yet its enormous lantern slowly began to glow, casting a pale white beam across the water. "There shouldn't be anyone here," Ethan whispered. The giant wooden door creaked open by itself. Inside, dust covered every surface, but the spiral staircase looked untouched, as though someone still climbed it every night. On the walls hung faded photographs of lighthouse keepers dating back almost 200 years. Every face carried the same frightened expression. At the top of the tower, Ethan found an old leather journal. The final entry made his blood run cold. "If the light shines after midnight, do not look into the sea. It is not guiding ships home. It is calling them." A loud foghorn echoed outside. Ethan rushed to the balcony. Far below, an old sailing ship emerged from the mist. It looked impossibly ancient, its torn sails fluttering despite the absence of wind. The crew stood perfectly still, staring toward the lighthouse. Suddenly, the lantern's beam changed color, turning an eerie blue. The sea began to swirl. Massive waves circled the ship without touching anything else. Within seconds, the water opened like a giant mouth beneath the vessel. The entire ship disappeared into the ocean without making a sound. No explosion. No wreckage. Nothing. Ethan stood frozen in horror. Then he heard footsteps behind him. An old man dressed in a weathered lighthouse keeper's uniform stood silently in the lantern room. His face was pale, his eyes hollow. "I told them not to come," the old keeper said softly. Ethan turned in shock. "Who are you?" "I was the last keeper." "But records say you disappeared 40 years ago." The old man gave a sorrowful smile. "I did." He explained that the lighthouse had been built above an ancient, underwater cave unlike anything known to science. Long before the lighthouse existed, sailors avoided these waters because strange currents dragged entire ships beneath the sea. When the lighthouse was constructed, the mysterious force awakened. Every few years, it demanded more lives. The keepers discovered that extinguishing the light only made the force stronger. Lighting the beacon delayed its hunger, but never stopped it completely. Eventually, every keeper either vanished or became trapped, guarding the lighthouse forever. "I've been waiting for someone brave enough to end this," the old man whispered. He handed Ethan an old brass key. "Beneath the lighthouse is a chamber no one has dared enter for generations." Ethan descended into a hidden tunnel beneath the tower. Cold seawater dripped from the ceiling as he reached an enormous stone chamber. Strange symbols covered the walls, and in the center stood a massive iron door chain shut. As he inserted the brass key, the chains fell away. The door slowly opened. Beyond it stretched an underground cavern filled with black seawater that reflected no light. Then dozens of ghostly figures began rising from the dark surface. They weren't monsters. They were sailors. Hundreds of them. Men from different centuries, wearing uniforms from every era, silently stared at Ethan. Their faces showed sadness rather than anger. One stepped forward. "We were never swallowed," he said. "We were trapped." The cavern trembled violently. The black water started climbing the walls like living shadows. The trapped sailors explained that an ancient force Beneath the ocean fed on fear and isolation. Every disappearance strengthened it. Unless someone destroyed the lighthouse's ancient seal, the curse would continue forever. The only way to break it was to relight the beacon one final time while opening the chamber to the first rays of sunrise. Knowing he might never escape, Ethan raced back up the endless spiral staircase as the entire lighthouse shook around him. Dark waves crashed against the cliffs. Ghostly whispers echoed through every room. Reaching the lantern room moments before dawn, Ethan lit the ancient flame using the keeper's old lantern. The blue light transformed into brilliant golden light. The first sunlight struck the beacon. A deafening roar erupted from beneath the sea. The ocean churned violently before suddenly becoming calm. Far below, hundreds of ghostly sailors appeared one last time. Instead of fear, they smiled. One by one, they faded into the morning sunlight. The old lighthouse keeper nodded with gratitude. My watch is finally over. His figure slowly disappeared into the wind. Days later, rescue crews arrived after receiving Ethan's emergency signal. They found him sitting quietly outside the lighthouse. The mysterious blue light had vanished forever. The strange disappearances stopped. Ships crossed Black Reef safely for the first time in over 200 years. Yet some fishermen still claim that on stormy nights, just before sunrise, a warm golden light shines from the abandoned lighthouse, not as a warning of danger, but as a reminder of the brave souls who finally broke the curse. If you enjoyed this mysterious lighthouse story and want more thrilling tales about haunted places, forgotten islands, cursed castles, and terrifying legends from around the world, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on the notification bell. You never know which forgotten mystery we'll uncover next.